Welcome back to Sub-Zero Hero and the start of Season 11 of this FM21 adventure where we're trying to take a team from the bottom of Norwegian football to the top using nothing but our youth intakes, and we are making progress. Last season, we recorded the highest finish in the club's history, but the media are predicting a tough campaign this year. We are 900 to 1 shots to win the Norwegian Premier Division. Can we upset those odds? I don't think so, but I am hopeful of at least another top 6 finish. If we're going to do so, we're going to need some new players to step up and lead this club to the next level. Fortunately, we might just have had our best youth intake in quite a few years. So before we look at those youth players that have come through, let's have a look at how they've started their campaign. They're 4 games into the Under-19 season and they are doing pretty well, tied at the top of the Under-19 Championship with our city rivals Tromsdalen. They've been playing some pretty good football, scoring lots of goals as well. So these are the players that came through, and some of them really were terrible. Another unambitious goalie. In fact, unambitious was the most common personality that came through amongst some of these players. They had pretty low potential, pretty low current ability. Their attributes really weren't good, and their personalities meant that we decided not to take quite a few of these players on. But of the ones we have taken on, I think there's some genuine prospects in there. Let's start off with Jorn Linseth. Okay, this is not the best that came through, but as a winger, there's definitely potential there. Crossing and dribbling are okay. Passing and off-the-ball movement are okay. He's got good acceleration, and perhaps we could speed him up a little bit. Balance is there for a winger. Certainly at under-19 level, I think Jorn Linseth is going to be useful to us. Maybe not a first-team prospect of the future, but some of the other players that came through in the same youth intake I think might be. Another player that's certainly going to be good at under-19 level, I think, is Tobias Jitterbug. He's reasonably quick. The agility, the balance is there. Crossing and dribbling, you can both develop. Passing, teamwork, work rate. There's something to work with there. Again, maybe not ever going to go on and be a Premier Division player, but at under-19 level, I think he's going to be pretty useful to us. However, let's show you some of the better prospects that came through. What about Jonas Skogvand Pedersen? Enthusiastic striker, although I think maybe is more of a left winger because his finishing is 6 and composure is 6. Have a look at him as a left winger. He's already pretty quick. In fact, apart from the strength and the balance, all of those physicals are pretty good. Have a look at some of the other attributes he's got for a winger. Yes, you'd want the crossing to improve, but he can dribble. The first touch is pretty good. The passing is okay. The work rate and the teamwork are there. Off the ball movement is okay. The flair is already at 15. This guy could be a player maybe as an attacking midfielder perhaps, although the vision's only 5. Certainly as a winger at under 19 level, I think he is going to be pretty good. And he's already scored 3 goals this season. And I still don't think we've seen the best of our youth intake players. We've also got Christian Thijs Sperovic. Again, another one listed as a promising striker, but again, I think this guy might be a winger, but over on the right-hand side this time. We've got pretty decent physicals all round this time. The pace and the acceleration, the agility and the balance are all decent already for a 15-year-old, and we can train them on. He's got some decent mentals for a winger, such as the off-the-ball, the flair, the work rate. And then some of these technicals, wow, they're already great. Technique of 15. First touch is decent, but dribbling is 15. Crossing of 11. I'm actually thinking we're going to start Christian Thijs Sperovic in today's game. What else? The thing we've needed more than anything in our youth intakes is a left back. And wouldn't you credit it, after waiting a decade for one? Well, we got 2 decent ones that came through. This is Asad Jawad, an Iraqi left back. 5'11", fairly professional personality. I think we could train this player into a reasonable first team prospect with that personality. Already the physicals are pretty good. The mentals, brave, determined, concentration's good, vision and work rate, can cross a ball a little bit. Defensively looks good. Tackling is 14. I think this guy could make a pretty reasonable defensive left-back of the future. But if we go into the first team, we've already been playing during pre-season a guy who I think could be an even better left-back. The head of youth development mentioned that we had a promising Russian fullback coming through. This is Yuri Grachev. Now, he's not as quick as you might like for a fullback. His pace is only 8. But we can work on that because I think almost everything else you want from a left back is there. He can cross a ball. First touch is really good. Marking and positioning are fine. Teamwork and work rate are there. Tackling is good, but he's also quite a technical player. His passing and technique are great. He's very brave. Other mentals there, such as concentration and decisions, looking really good. I think Yuri Grachev could be quite the little prospect. He's come through with total attributes of 340. When Martin Dusan Ibsen came through, and remember, we sold him for nearly £3 million, he came through with total attributes of only just over 300. So Grachev's starting point is way above Dusan Ibsen's. He's got a personality that gives him a chance of developing. I reckon he could well be a decent prospect for us. However, next we should probably check in on the youth intake from last season and just have a look at how they've developed. So of the youth intake that came through last season, there were 2 there that I was keen to keep quite a close eye on and see how they developed this campaign. The answer was that 1 trained on incredibly well. 1 was a little bit more disappointing. This is Anders Heidecker, still described as a promising centre-back, but only made about 15 attribute point improvement last season, hampered, I think, by a fairly loyal personality. You'll see there's still some great aspects to his game, like the tackling, the marking, positioning's not bad, he's aggressive, his work rate is good. Physically, he's not really made huge improvements. He hasn't grown, his jumping reach hasn't improved, he hasn't got any quicker. Not really made the development that I would have liked, either to change my formation and play him as part of a 3-man midfield, or to establish him as one of our centre-backs. We're going to give him more game time this season. He's going to be playing as a centre-half primarily, I think, for us this season, because I'm keen to blood another youngster that came through at the same time as him in central midfield. You'll see, for today's match squad, there is no Martin Dusan Ibsen, neither is there any Mats Nessa. The only loan player we've brought back for this season is Trondagner Bratton, who we've got for another 6 months as part of his 12-month loan back deal after we sold him to AC Milan. I could have bought Dusan Ibsen back. The squad would certainly be a lot stronger if I had bought him back. But I didn't. And I neither tried to bring back Mats Nessa. Now that's probably a mistake and it's probably going to hinder our league form. But I want to try and continue to develop some of our youngsters. And if Martin Dusan Ibsen isn't at the club, it means that I will be forced into playing our youngsters more often, such as Christian Berntsen. Another good personality, this time driven. Physically, he is starting to look really, really good now. He's got passing and tackling for a central midfielder. Work rate is absolutely exceptional. For that personality, you'd expect determination to be high, and it is. Anticipation, aggression, concentration, all there. Technically, there's work to do, but lots of these technicals you can see bursting into double figures when you consider that last season he made 60 attribute points worth of improvement during his first year at the club. We give him more game time this season, that development might be accelerated further because he only made 6 appearances last season, 4 of them starts, 2 of them from the bench. And if Martin Dusan Ibsen was at the club, I'd be playing him alongside Heron in this central midfield, and Berntsen would be back down in the under-19s. We're also going with a slightly modified formation rather than the 4-4-2. We're going to go 4-2-4, which means we can get Hartvigsson out as the inside forward on the left. He seems to drift in and score quite a few goals from that position, which means there's a place up front where, again, we're going to try and give more and more game time to one of our prospects. 18-year-old Paul Runnigan has already been capped at international level for the under-19s. The finishing is, of course, the main hindrance to him settling in as a striker, but he is also making some really good developments in training. Mentally, he looks superb. Apart from that natural fitness, physically, he's looking great. We just got to work on his technicals. He still could drop back in and be a midfielder. He's certainly got the passing and the vision for it, and the physique to be perhaps a more durable midfielder alongside Heron. We're going to try and play him as a pressing forward today. Completing that front line then is going to be the second of those youth intake players. We're going to play Christian Tajsperovic. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists for the first team during pre-season. Let's see whether he can do anything in today's game. We've been handed a tough start to the season. We're up against Valerenga away from home. They are going to be one of the favourites for a title challenge this season. Pre-season form has been all right. We're kicking off the season a month earlier than we did last year, so it's been a bit of a shortened pre-season. I tried to pack it with some games against some pretty challenging opponents. We did okay though. We played Bode Glimt and managed to beat them 4-2. We lost to Molde, but we did have some chances. But we've also beaten Brann in pre-season and beaten Tromsdalen in pre-season as well. If we could take form anything like that into today's game, I'd give us a chance, but we know pre-season form is very, very different to what you might be able to recreate when you start your league campaign. Let's get out there and see how this very young team do against Valerenga today. Okay, we are underway. This is going to be a toughie. I would not be surprised if this game ends in defeat today. I mean, we're playing 15-year-olds throughout the team. We had the start. The opportunity, I should say, to get off to a dream start there. And Hugo Emper has stooped down and somehow managed to scoop his header against the bar. Shame, that would have been a bright little start for us. But we've got some very young players in the team today. And we've left out the opportunity to bring back Martin Dusend-Ibsen and Mats Neser. Maybe that would have given us extra experience, extra quality. I made the decision it would have blocked the pathways to the first team for some of our youngsters and have gone in another direction. You never know. I might change my decision later on in the season if these youngsters don't look like they're up to playing Premier Division football. But for the moment, it's the strategy I'm going with. Let me know down in the comments if you think I'm making a terrible mistake. I have aspirations of another top 6 finish this season. If we're going to do that, we're going to need some new players to come to the fore and step up and be quality first teamers for us. Certainly Runnigan is one of the ones I am hopeful might be a decent striker for us. We're also going to need one of our midfielders to step up. We need Kim Heron to become, well, the creative force for us in the centre of midfield without Dusend-Ibsen there. He's got the passing and the vision for it. He's got some great little player traits as well, such as being able to curl the ball, dictate the tempo, play long-range passes. As the deep line playmaker, we are going to be relying heavily on him for this season. How is this game going, by the way? We've had 6 shots, only 1 on target, but our XG is looking good, considering the quality of opponent we're facing. But it's 0-0, and we've got a defensive set play that we are going to try and defend. They are going to be a huge part of this season's destiny, by the way. We've got new defensive lineups for our defensive corners and our defensive free kicks to try and tighten up from those kind of situations, because we shipped just far too many goals from defensive set plays last season. Also, we're going to rely on not giving away as many penalties this season, but with such a young team, that might be difficult. And I've just noticed, by the way, and maybe I should have clocked this, when looking at the lineups, little Dusend-Ibsen is making his Valerenga debut and he's just gone close with a header. Now there's an added incentive to this game. We don't want Dusend-Ibsen to get one over on us, and Hugo Emperor's just had another really good chance from a header, and that might be all we've got for the first half. I would say we've shaded that first half, but don't have anything to show for it. Maybe a little tweak of the roles up front might make us a little bit more potent, as well as a decent halftime team talk. We'll see you in a moment. Okay, we're back underway and we have made a little tweak. We were playing Paul Runnigan as a pressing forward with an attack duty. We've switched him to a full advanced forward. don't think he's ideally suited to that role. I think he's better as a deep lying forward. But alongside Emper, well, they're both a little bit similar in their outlook. So we have switched him to an advanced forward and we're going to see how he gets on. If we do make a change, by the way, I think the change we could make might be to bring on another player from last season's youth intake who again trained pretty well. And that's Skogdal, who's been great for the under-19 so far this season and has had some game time in the first team during pre-season and looked pretty good. Speaking of youngsters, here's little Ty Sperovic and he's got a ball over and it is Runnigan. And more important than Runnigan getting a goal for the first team, we've got Ty Sperovic over on the right wing there. Breaking forward, he had enough pace just to take on the defence. And he had the composure and the vision to just roll it across the 6-yard box. And Runnigan has put us into the lead straight after half-time. This is a good performance so far. We're far from done. We've got nearly a half a football to play and we've got a set piece to try and defend once more. They've hit the bar and it landed straight at the feet of Pedersen and he's picked it up. Now we're looking at us having an XG of nearly a full goal greater than theirs. And we've got Ty Sperovic on the ball again. He's got Heron with him. It's a little bit tight back there. And he's given the ball away. That is poor play from your playmaker. And here's the man we don't want to score. Dusundibson breaking on us. We're getting towards an hour mark now. I think it could be time for us to make a substitution of our own. Maybe ours might be to make a change to our strikers as well. Oh, I thought Ty Sperovic was going to have the perfect debut. The ball fell to him in the 6-yard box. He turned and he struck a post and he is playing pretty well. Okay, change is made. Emper has gone off. He was looking a bit tired as well. We've switched Runnigan out to be the target man. He's 6'2". He's decent in the air. He's pretty strong. And we've brought Skogdal in as the advanced forward up front for us. We've headed the ball clear. Here is Runnigan. And Skogdal's probably going to be the only player he's got up with him. It looks like the two of them are going to have to do this alone if we're going to create a chance. They've gone back to the edge of the area. And we've got it all back again. It's Berntsen. He's had a go. Oh, that's the second effort he has had from range. I'm pretty pleased with how some of these youngsters are playing. Heron is playing well. Berntsen's playing well. Ty Sperovic and Runnigan both playing well. Pretty happy with how they've started this game. Dusundibson looks like they've moved him back into a midfield role now. And as Adoy Hansen got himself sent off, what happened there? He was in front of the attacker. Has he thrown an elbow? Has he turned round and pushed him? Oh, he's let us down. We've got 15 minutes to try and navigate and we're going to have to do it with 10 men. The only defender we've got on the bench is Heidecker. We're going to have to go for a bit of a rejig and we'll see you for our inevitable capitulation. And now we've got, injury time to navigate. 6 minutes of it. We're at 1 minute of that and the highlights are in again. Valerenga have got the ball and they've got a player over. Berg has managed to get a header intercepted. Hartvigson's there. Can we perhaps break forward and grab a second? You've asked a lot of Schörnerson there, haven't you, Mr. Runnigan? And you've given the ball away. And it is going to be us that's going to have to do the defending. Dusundibson's still on the pitch. He's playing as a deep line playmaker now. We've got a challenge in. Giving them a corner. You know how vulnerable we are from these defensive set plays. And with a man sent off, we've got a little bit of a gap in our zonal marking system as well. Dusundibson's picked it up. We're now over the added 6 minutes, but they've still got the ball. It's Roald Dahl over on the right wing. He's slung one over. We've got it away with Heron, and it is full time, and we've snuck a win away at the home of one of the favourites. And my goodness, some of our youngsters played well. Runnigan's got the winner for us. Ty Sperovic at 15 years old makes his debut, gets an assist, hits the post, and a 7.5 rating. Little Berntsen plays well. Grachev has got himself a 7. I'm pretty pleased with how we did in that game. We asked Heron to step up and be the creative force as our deep line playmaker. And I tell you what, he's had a good game in that fixture as well. So that is the dream start. I thought we were going to find it very difficult to beat Valerenga today. They are going to be right near the top of the table at the end of this season. And remember, Dusan Dibson was lining up for them, not for us. We've still got a lot of work to do this season. These youngsters are going to be a bit inconsistent. They've got a lot of developing to do. And remember, one of our other key players, Bratton, is only on loan for the first half of this season. Got a lot of developing to do. We're going to go offline, play a few games, continue to develop these youngsters. We'll see where we are when we come back, but we've got to say, that's not a bad start in our bid to turn these youngsters into Sub-Zero heroes.